All right, all right. Good morning, Shy, my man. Are we
Morning,
ready for
Stock
another
Twits
day?
Nation.
Let's
I'm
go.
ready. This is day two of the short and holiday week. Let's see how today reacts. Yesterday was a strong start, weak finish. Today, it's pretty settled down. Minimal news story type of morning. What do you see right now, Jordan? Is
I
there
mean, it
anything?
it seemed it was feeling like a pretty uneventful week for the most part. But I mean, last night we got some decent after hours movers. We got in Semtex up 17%, Woodward up 10%, Zoom down 9%, Agora down 7%. So things are moving. We got Bitcoin pulling back. Looks like Jim Cramer really called the top on that one, saying that was a good winner. So that's pulling back. Kind of exactly what I was thinking there. We talked about that on the show last week. I mean, we got really close to that 100K. I think we 99.6, 99.5 or so, and pulling back, right?
What
And
a teaser!
honestly,
What
yeah,
a teaser!
I'm not surprised at all, right? I mean, did you really think they were going to make it that easy to just blow through 100K? I didn't. I just don't
It went from
expect that.
75 to 100 in a matter of like weeks, right? I mean, it,
Yeah.
it was quick. It was quick. So like, I don't think people should be shaking in their boots from them going from
Yeah.
100 to 95.
Yeah, so again, I think crypto is really what I mean, the hot thing to watch this week with things being pretty uneventful, but still watching some interesting earnings. We got some pre-market earnings movers this morning. Kohl's down 16%, looking nasty there. Macy's down 2%, Burlington down 6%, Abercrombie and Fitch up 1%. A little bit, there's a little bit of gains there, but bunch of things moving still. We got a bunch of things happening this week, just not obviously a bunch of volume flooding into the market. I feel like we saw a lot of orders going off last week that kind of set people up so they could take this week off, you know what I mean, and focus on Thanksgiving and family and all that. So still not expecting too much on the indices or anything like that, but there's still individual names that are moving. Crypto's moving, right? So there's opportunity throughout the week still.
Yeah, I mean, I guess let's get started with the daily rip right now, since not much news story occurred over the weekend except for some dead brick and mortar retailers reporting earnings this morning. That if you guys are investors in Kohl's and Macy's, like I don't think you guys should be watching this. So like, we'll move on from that storyline.
Small caps, baby, they're taking off. We
Finally, all
saw
time highs.
Yeah, we saw him hit new all-time highs yesterday. That was, I mean, it's amazing, right? I mean, what more could you want there? I know
It's
you're a big small cap guy. Are there any
yeah.
like individual names specifically that you have seen that really have been, I guess, taking over this move and pushing it for the most part that you're, noticing out of the
Yeah,
bunch?
absolutely. So, I mean, I've been saying that the next frontier after AI is quantum computing and space, and those two industries have been affected due to the poor macro environment towards money losing growth companies that are small caps. As soon as the Fed started cutting rates and the cycle began, and now the Fed's finally back on our side, I knew that people's, like a lot of investors' eyes would go past AI. Okay, what's next? What's the next couple of years? Next frontier? It's space and quantum computing. And in my opinion, there's only two names that are the best pure plays for those thematics. For space, it's Rocket Lab, ticker RKLB. You've seen the move from $5 to $25 now. IonQ is the best name, in my opinion, for quantum computing. You've seen the move from $7 to $35. This is because now the appetite for this risk-on environment is intensifying, and everyone's trying to get the next big thing, and that is those two industries. So I do think that's where the move has happened. What So I get asked all the time, like, is it too late to get into Rock Lab and quantum computing? Absolutely not. This is like way early innings of this thematic. However, like both names are definitely overextended in the near term, so I wouldn't chase this. But look out for your key technicals, like the 9 EMA on the weekly chart, 21 EMA on the weekly chart, etc. So that's the time to get in those names. But I do think the environment, like this is feeling very risk on environment. It's not exactly COVID 2020, but it has kind of an aura around like the end of 2020, what it is right now, where everything's kind of lining up perfectly for us to have a roaring 2025 performance where Fed's on our side, Trump being president, hyper bullish for businesses. And all these appointees, you're seeing all these appointees how bullish it is for Silicon Valley tech and stock market, and the whole world is kind of suffering right now, except for the U.S. The U.S. GDP is really strong, so like I think everything's kind of mirroring what happened at the end of 2020, and that is a really interesting setup for 2025 because for the majority of this year has been large cap, big tech. Those have been the clear winners, semiconductors. Now it's kind of rotating towards these lagging high quality.
Where's that
small
money gonna go,
names.
right? It can't
Exactly.
stay in those names forever. It has to rotate at some point. So
100%, and I think that appetite you're noticing it. Like even yesterday when Nvidia was down 4%, but a lot of the growth small cap and mid cap names were roaring. I think you're seeing a repositioning occur. I don't know how sticky it's going to be. I think it's going to be very sticky, but it's happening right now. You're seeing it right now with the Russell 2000. It hit an all-time high, finally broke through it. It's been teasing it a couple times in the past couple months, and I think this is just beginning. Even though like the IWM caveat, like 1/3 of the IWM is regional banks, so like it's very much. If you guys want to use the ticker KRE, that's a great indicator of like what the IWM is doing. I use IWM as like a narrative benchmark. I don't really trade it or do anything with it because of the regional bank exposure, but either way, I've been noticing that small caps are just like have the intention and they have the ball, and I don't think they're going to pass it back anytime soon.
yeah, I mean, and just seeing this move from a technical standpoint, I think it's very similar to the market all year, where all-time highs on this are not going to be a bearish thing, especially, I mean, if you've been in IWM or any part of the Russell, you know that the consolidation over the past, I mean, this whole year has been ridiculous, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, so, but the longer the consolidation, generally, the bigger the move, either way it goes, right? So I definitely think once this really gets going and breaking out like we are,
Rocket Lab.
you know, things are going to look great. Yeah, Rocket Lab is just, look at that.
This is another perfect case study of how narrative follows price action.
Absolutely.
Rocket Lab was stuck, like what Jordan was just saying, like it was basing that small caps. Rocket Lab was basing for years between $4 and $5, like years. The business was identical than it was right now when it was trading at under $5, identical. But people view them as a shitco space company or just a satellite launching company, and they didn't see them slowly transitioning from launching company to a space logistics company in a matter of those 2 years where stock price was just stuck. So that was a great example of how stock price was disconnected from business execution. Right now, Rocket Lab is validating themselves as the space logistics company of the future. And people are now believing it because it's at above $20. When you could have had that opportunity under $5. That's why I wish we had the show 6 months ago, because I
remember Shay was hammering the table about this. I remember hearing you on Spaces.
I love me some Rocket Lab. Like this is a mini monster, and I don't think it's. I think this is gonna be like a $30 to $50 billion company. So days aren't over, and Sava.
Poor Sava. That was obviously just crazy moves yesterday. Very unfortunate. if you were stuck in that, but it looks like the majority of people were already out, at least on the StockTwits polls. So like to see that. That's
Thank
nice.
God. They ain't idiots.
I wanted to touch real quick though on that Xena ticker that ripped this morning. It was that was an outrageous move there.
Was it on no news, or is there a reason?
Yeah,
for that?
I don't think there's news, at least none that I know. $6.42 at the close yesterday, and it's at $11.40 here, new all-time high. So absolutely wild there. Don't know what's going on, but I guess it's not as an uneventful week as I thought it was going to be, huh? With something ripping like that.
I mean,
super interesting.
There's gonna be some wonky moves like this, guys. Like this is we're entering the period of kind of craziness. That's why altcoins is really intriguing to me, because like things are gonna get really wonky in the next like 6 weeks. Like just there's not as low volume. It's like no catalyst to buck a trend. Like you can really, if something's moving, like it can really move. And I think play accordingly. Like I think I might.
Don't be mad if you didn't catch it. That's not something that you're gonna like catch every day. You know what I mean? That's just not a realistic play, but it's cool to see, right? It's cool to see something like that happen. Deere hitting new all-time highs. Love to see it. Are you long on the tractors or what?
I do think industrials is one of those industries that can really, really benefit off of AI. Like, think about it. I can literally handle like 5 or 6 tractors from my desk now using AI. I don't need five
That's
or six
actually
workers.
huge. I didn't really think about that from
It's
an
a huge
industrial
margin expansion
standpoint, and
opportunity. Huge.
that's huge. Yeah, absolutely.
Also, funny caveat for deer. Uh, if you want to be involved in the family trust for deer, you have to name your kid. Your middle name has to be Deer. So that's a fun little note if you want to know about that company.
BlackBerry. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't looked at the BlackBerry ticker in a minute. It's been a while. It's been since my meme days and the
Talk
AMC
about.
days. Talk about a pop though. Wow.
I mean, to be honest, like they should have somewhat of a presence. Like I don't know, like them and Nokia. Like I don't know what happened with both those companies where they were heavy first mover advantage in these themes that are just like incrementally growing and growing, and like the applications is spreading, but like they just didn't. I don't know, they sat on their hands. Like I don't know what happened, but yeah, I mean BlackBerry. I don't know much about them because I put them in the box of grandpa. So I don't know. It's just one of those companies that if they can turn the story, like who knows, like products go into a life cycle. Like maybe we're at that life cycle where BlackBerry becomes a popular thing again, and they can leverage their 5G for whatever they want to do going forward.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I just from a technical standpoint, I'm watching this big monthly level. That 270 looks like a spot we need to really clear for the upside. But I mean, if we can get over that and hold, it looks like there's some opportunity for the upside just from the monthly chart. But been basing for a while now. It's nice to see. Yesterday I had a great day though. That was a ripping day. So we'll see if that price action can continue there. I know we got AMD has been interesting. Let me see here. It's just been getting killed. I've had a few swing trades that I've tried on it, and it just hasn't really worked out for me personally. It's been pretty back and forth over past week. It's up a bit in pre-market though, up to 143. Just about tapping that daily 21 EMA for me. It's just AMD's stuck down here for me right now. I don't have a whole lot of opportunity for it in this moment. But how are you feeling about AMD and I don't know, kind of against Nvidia right now? It's hard for me, Shy. I own both. I own more Nvidia, but I own AMD at under $100. So it's not like I want to sell it or anything, and I'm not ready to yet. But at some point, I'm gonna have to make a decision. I mean, between the two, and I'm just like curious on your take about that.
AMD has a narrative problem, and it's more because of Nvidia's success. Like I mentioned, like the innovation window from Nvidia is rapidly closing. Like, it's going from 2 years, 18 months, now less than a year. There's innovating their chips, and every time AMD produces their latest and greatest chip, they go to the market, and all of a sudden Nvidia has a more powerful chip. They're innovating their latest chip, and now AMD has to go back to the lab to create a stronger chip so they can actually get a seat at the table. So I think AMD really won't, like their arguments or the bull case on AMD is the cheaper alternative to Nvidia's chips, that if you can't get your hands on Nvidia's chips, this is the next best option. Do you want to put your money into the next best option? No, like I mentioned yesterday, capitalism is going to be absolutely brutal in the next decade. You're going to have to be the best, and it's not okay to be second fiddle as much anymore. AMD's kind of second fiddle. Like every time like there's a bullish narrative that, oh, this might be the chance for AMD, they don't deliver in their earnings. So like the proof isn't there yet. It's just more of a narrative. And I think at a time where the stage one of this AI thematic is investments, this investment cycle, which is servers, compute, and hardware, they're missing it a bit because of Nvidia's success. And by the time that AMD catches up, or at least gets some of that pie, I think we're going to be fully in the stage two, and stage one might be in that cyclical pause period. And it's one of those bad timing situations for AMD that I don't know if, like, unless they can do something drastic in the next 18 months, I just don't see them being a viable like player in that space. They might be a great tool, like vehicle to capture a trade, but I don't know. Like I just think this is one name that constantly disappoints, and history doesn't repeat itself, but often rhymes. Like it's probably going to continue doing so until they prove me otherwise.
Yeah, I'm with you. From a technical standpoint too, I mean, you have this support that we're holding, right? So at a big spot, looking at the chart here from StockTwits, I mean that chart is, we're at a big spot here. It's make or break a little bit, in my opinion, at this area. And so it's nice to see if we can get some traction out of this area. I have some NFP levels. Long story short, if you don't know NFP, non-farm payroll data that comes out, I get levels from that data that comes out. And they're usually pretty reactive and pretty accurate. And we're just really in between a bunch of those levels right now. So until we really get above or below those, I'm not too confident in any play on AMD. But we'll keep tabs on it for sure.
Well,
I still have it in the long term, so we'll see what happens there. But I have a feeling at some point, it's just going to be like, all right, I got to get rid of this and throw this somewhere else where it makes more sense,
Well, can we talk about how great chart art is though? As Jordan can attest to, it takes years to learn the skills, to technical skills to kind of know when to buy.
Yeah, it takes time.
When
It's
to sell.
not going to come overnight. Yeah, it takes time
This
to
is
do that, and having this is beautiful.
They hand this to you on a platter right now. This is very easy. So, and it's also very digestible. A lot of times, they give so much chart noise and
wow, look at the sentiment score on this. I love seeing this. The sentiment score for all the indices there. Nice.
Again, like what I said, sentiment follows stock price. So a lot of times,
it's clear where the rotations happen.
Yeah.
I mean, look at IWM, right? Rotations there.
100%.
Obviously, these are the big watchers for the week. These are going to be the most active stocks on your radar. Sava is obviously a big mover this week. S&P,
Archer
Bitcoin,
Aviation is
Nvidia.
interesting.
Yeah,
Wow,
Archer Aviation. I actually, long time ago, I was at the golf course with my buddy, and this older gentleman we were golfing with told us about Archer Aviation when it was worth nothing, and now it's actually doing good. It's funny to see. So
I will say I used to be bullish in this eVTOL space. I was ooh, that's makes a ton of sense. Only two real names, Joby and Archer. And I think the Archer's really caught a bid in the past month because there was a bullish coverage from an analyst, and it's took off from there. I just don't think we're anywhere close for this market to actually play. I think Archer's worth $4 billion. I think Joby's worth $6 billion. These are very pre-revenue companies that I don't think they'll actually produce any profitability till 2030. And at the end, you have to ask yourself how profitable can this industry kind of be? It's do we need to have it? It's a nice to have, but it's not a need. Quantum computing, we need to have it to fulfill the maximum potential for AI. Space, we need to have it for defense. And also, our world is not as bullish as it was 20 years ago. You kind of have to look beyond of what else is out there. So I think eVTOL is it's a highly capital intensive environment. Yes, there could be a space for them in the urban towns in America or something defense overseas, but I just don't know. It's already worth $4 to $6 billion. These companies,
well, and like you said,
I think it's dead money.
It's not a necessity.
Yeah.
Right. That's the big deal. It's you want to really. I mean, for the most part, when we talk about our long-term accounts and stocks that we really want to be invested in, it's generally companies that are making that are innovative and doing things that are changing the future, right? That are changing the outcome of people's lives, that are a necessity and really a need in people's lives versus just oh, that's nice. You know what I mean? It's nice to have, but is it when it comes down to it, are people going to need it, right? And things similar an example would just be your phone, for instance. It's people have to have your phone. Most people have two phones nowadays. It's there's more phones in the world than people, right? So it's a necessity. Apple, boom, right? It's also, you want to be a part of life-changing companies, not oh, that's nice, and I'll add it to my
it's shiny
arsenal.
But
it's shiny.
Yeah. It's come on,
it's not worth it.
I mean, I think I do. If I was ever to get bullish in this space, I think it'd have to be a company that they have to be worth less than $1 billion. To be honest, that's usually my threshold.
When you want to capitalize on that growth, yeah,
exactly. When I'm these kind of massive growth thematics, I'm looking for 5xers, 10xers. Do I think Joby can be a $50 billion company or Archer being a $30 or $40 billion company? I don't know. That's oh, That's Snowflake's worth only $45 billion. Like, and they control the data for the whole world. Like, that's what's worth 40 billion dollars, not an eVTOL company, in my opinion. That just is a nice to have. And you can also make the argument that autonomy, if it becomes like commercially scalable, like people won't care as much for flying cars or like flying eVTOL stuff. Like it's just And also the regulation headaches, I can't imagine. Like I really can't imagine the hurdles you have to go through for eVTOL to be commercially scalable. But it's a cool technology, it really is. But investment opportunity, I don't know.
I love it. Look, Emp said I'm long Ace and Shy. Ticker Ace and Shy. I love it. Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Shout out. We got about 9 minutes till the market open.
Let's see what some. So we had some news story this morning. We had, I think it's something regarding the Ozempic drugs. We had the White House propose expanding Medicare and Medicaid coverage for obesity drugs, which would entail millions of people now being eligible for Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly's drug. So I think this is bullish for those two names. I think this is bearish for Hims and Her Health. Let's see what Hims and Her is doing pre-market.
The big bad bear on Hims. It's Shy.
I'm capitalizing on it. It's actually not that as bad as I thought it would be pre-market. I don't know.
No, it's pretty flat, to be honest. It's pulling back. It had a strong day yesterday, so I don't expect it to just like open up and rug. Looks like today's likely going to be an inside day of yesterday's range, so probably not too much to happen today. But I mean, it's a big range from yesterday, so we could get some movement back and forth for sure. But I don't expect too much straight direction on that name today.
Well, I love Eli Lilly. That's the tier 1 pharma play, like tier 1. I don't think it belongs to my growth portfolio, but if I have a conversation at the dinner table at Thanksgiving with my father-in-law, my fiance's grandpa, and they always tell me like, what stock should I get into? Because like I do this every day, and they unfortunately see my portfolio like on my account because it's very public, and it's very uncomfortable when they talk to me about my money because it's so public. That's a
Shy, why are you throwing money into this and it's still down?
Yeah. Can you support my daughter when you have this risk-adverse behavior? But I'm probably going to mention to them Eli Lilly. Like, this is a safer stock for them. Like, I think they have such an extensive pipeline. They have Zempic is obviously the bubble is bursting a bit on Zempic, but like that move has happened on it's LLY is the ticker for Eli Lilly. Yeah, so it's catching it somewhat of a bit, but like I think this is just one of those companies that's just gonna consistently capitalize on the latest and greatest thing. Right now it's Zempic, but they just have proven their management and that they can always stay ahead of the curve. So I think this is one of those safer plays. I think it got battered due to the RFK Jr. appointee that was way overblown. That I think, yes, it's going to be somewhat disruptive towards vaccines, but not the whole biotech space. It's not going to, this one person won't somehow transform this like massive industry that's been dominating a lot of the lobbyist revenues for years and years. Like they're going to intensify and they're going to fight whatever RFK tries to do. Like regardless, I think there was a buying opportunity in this dip, even if it was short-lived. This dip's it looks like it's stabilizing a bit, but either way, this is one of the names I'm going to communicate at the dinner table at Thanksgiving probably. Another name is, I don't know, like I wanted to say Tesla, but Tesla's ran up. Like Tesla is an interesting
It depends on your time frame, I think, right? I mean, if you're looking to trade it for a month to the upside, yeah, you missed the boat, you know what I mean? And I think even for long term, it's like you missed way better prices for sure. But I mean, from a long term perspective, I do think this move is really the only the beginning for Tesla. I think 2025, 2026 are going to be some big years. But we'll see, right? I mean, obviously owning it at $350 versus when you could have just a few months ago owned it under like $200. Yeah, that stings. That hurts, right? But the fact is, it's like, okay, aside from that, what's the potential of this? I mean, Elon's in office essentially for 4 years, right, with Trump, which is just that is ultra
call him the
bullish.
First buddy.
I mean, that's just ultra bullish for Tesla alone right there. I don't see a world where Tesla doesn't perform amazing this next 4 years. So
Well,
I
can I ask you this?
we'll
Do you
see.
think Google has been obviously pulling back recently, and a lot of
Yeah.
people are assuming because DOJ is just like targeting them on their monopoly in the search market. Do you also think it's Waymo suffering with Trump being the first buddy? I mean, Elon being the first buddy to Trump. That clearly he's going to do everything in his power to make
Absolutely.
autonomy commercially scalable, and that's going to hurt Waymo because Waymo's
Yeah.
very niche on what they can do. And now it's like, oof.
Here's
It's
the
like,
thing. Elon's not a dumb guy. We all know this. He's very
100%.
smart. He knows exactly what he's doing, guys. He knows exactly what he's doing. Every move is a move on the chessboard, and he's looking at 10 moves ahead. All right, and this is a whole plan. I mean, like we talked about that with the Kim Kardashian like photos alone.
Yeah.
Every step is a little chess move. You know what I mean, on the board there. So, I have high hopes for Tesla in the next 4 years. Even though, yes, has it been going crazy these past few weeks? Of course, but to say for if you're looking to invest for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, like I am personally. I do not think you're too late, but there's going to be opportunities to catch the dips, right? Just because it's ran up so much, and it doesn't mean it's going to go forever, right? There are going to be dips to capitalize on. It's weird. We're humans, and we think, oh, once it gets going, it's never going to come back, and it's like we're always going to have opportunity to get in on a pullback. Sure,
Always.
it might look parabolic for a little bit, but there's always going to be a moment to come pull back, get back in. And look for higher prices. So
every stock will pull back to their 200-day SMA. Every
Yes,
single stock,
yes,
one time,
exactly.
sometime it's going to. So like that's why patient. You gotta be patient. Like RKLB at 25, IonQ at 35, like Palantir at 65. Like that's awesome. I will promise you guys. I'll 100% promise you guys. They will fall towards the 200-day SMA sometime in the next like decade or 5 years. Like sometime.
Even
They're just
Nvidia, when
going to.
Nvidia was rocketing, right? It was just after they split. After they split, everybody thought it was going to tank when they split, and it was flying. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, everybody could buy it here. I was getting everybody asking me, you want to buy it here like when it splits? I'm like, you could, but why not just wait for a pullback to previous all-time highs? It's going to need to test around that area at some point, and sure enough, it did, right? So always waiting for
Jordan, let me
pullbacks
ask
is
you,
better.
when was
What's
the
up?
last time that Nvidia pulled back to their 200-day SMA on the daily chart? If you had to guess, this is the month and year.
I'm gonna say October last year.
January 2023. Even in October, during the pullback, it just stayed above it. Like
Really?
this is-
That's
yeah.
what I was trying to capitalize. I was like, okay, then we pulled back like right into there and started bouncing in October. So I was
So
thinking that.
during October, it pulled back to $40 low.
Mm-hmm.
The 200 estimates at 35 at that time. So like I just think like that just shows the proof of like
Just shows
it's
strength
run up.
right
It's
there.
just straight.
It's like if
running up.
the Bulls or if the Bears can't even get it down to the SMA, I mean that just shows you what kind of strength the Bulls are showing, right? It's like the Bulls are here and they're here to stay. They're not going anywhere, at least not yet. So, what do you think about a comeback story for Asana? Ooh, Shy. That's a Shy question right there. How you feel
I'm
about that?
very bearish in the CRM space. I think that segment of enterprises is going to be highly disruptive from AI. AI is going to disrupt that whole niche within enterprise. Like it just makes too much sense. However, I'm not going to say all the companies are going to die off. I think there's going to be like 2 or 3 companies that will be the clear winners, while the rest will die off. Asana is not in that top 3. I think it's obviously Salesforce. I think it's HubSpot, and I think it's as surprising as it is, Monday.com is taking over the mid-size SRM space. So like, I do think Asana is one of those situations is they are clearly second fiddle to Monday.com and what they do. And I just don't think like if they haven't proved it right now or in the past, I think they are clearly in that bucket of AI will cannibalize them, and these 3, Monday, HubSpot, and Salesforce, will just be the winners of that CRM space when they're just going to be disrupted. Like they just will be. And Salesforce has proven this is one of the things. Oh, we opened right now, so I can pull back on
Yeah,
this. But,
market
like,
just open.
Salesforce is one of those companies that I just think they will always innovate because they will just acquire their way towards innovation. And Hims and Her Health is down 5%. I'm going to buy some puts, potentially. So I'm looking at doing that right now, potentially.
Let's go. I tried a few options plays yesterday. I got stopped out of everything for keeping losses small, and I just haven't put anything else on them. So I'm just focused on the futures probably for the most part this week. It's just tough to
I
position
almost
myself
just
this week.
bought. I mean, I almost just sold something when I was supposed to buy it. It is hard streaming and trading. I don't know how you did it, Jordan. I don't know how long it took you, but
I had done it for a while now, so I get used to it. But it's not easy, that's for sure.
all right, let's see what else is
ripping
moving
here.
Snowflake's ripping right now as well.
Gotcha.
Palantir's pulling back. Small caps are pulling back. IWM is red, 0.6%. So let's see what my small cap portfolio is doing.
Gold as well right now.
Not great.
Continuing to pull back. It got a little bounce overnight. I don't know. I think it could bounce more inside yesterday's range for sure, but overall, that big candle yesterday might have been the start of some more downside.
Jesus. Rock Lab's
Rusty
up
coming
4% now.
Sorry, when I say Rusty, I'm so used to normal spaces. When I say Rusty,
I love that name.
Yeah,
it's Russell 2000.
Yeah. The Rusty.
Or it's up 3% now. So,
and then if I say Colgate, that's oil. That's crude oil.
So IWM continues pulling back, but you see Rock Lab is look at that bar on the Rock Lab so far. Like it's the appetite is just so there for this name. It's love to see it, but it feels bubbly. I will say that it feels a little bubbly.
Yeah. Nvidia, Tesla's looking decently strong here to start. We'll see.
Celsius down 3%, of course.
Microsoft and Apple looking good.
All right, so looking at the market for indices, I think Nvidia is like if you look at Nvidia, like I want to see them clear 140, and I think that's a very big level for Nvidia, and I think that's also a big level for the market, unfortunately, because Nvidia is the leader of tech. If Nvidia runs, QQQ will follow, and then the other big tech names will follow. So I think it's also interesting that large cap is running a bit today and small cap is suffering. Like,
yeah,
it's like a game of hot potato.
I will say though, I honestly, like, just looking at this Nvidia pop this morning, the way we opened up, if you look at a daily chart, I mean, we opened up again. I keep saying inside days. These inside days are key, especially for my strategy, because it's either a lot of the time those inside days will be a break before continuation on that trade. And Nvidia, I mean, if we get this inside, I could see any pop today just getting sold unless we break yesterday's high, which would be a big move. You know what I mean? So really, unless I see us break yesterday's high today, any bounce today is really a setup to potentially short it for me. So, but that's obviously for the short term. I'm an Nvidia bull. I hold it long term. I love Nvidia, but just going on the short term charts, gotta be realistic. And I don't know. I feel like any buying here could be the sell until we get above yesterday's high again. We'll see though.
How much do you factor in RSIs, Jordan?
Never. RSI is irrelevant to me, to be honest.
Why is that? That's interesting.
Because when day trade, I mean, maybe it comes from when I first started using it, and I wasn't very educated. So I'm sure if I used it now, it would be better, just because I actually know how to use it now. But at the end of the day, it's like RSI can be through the roof, and we could rip for weeks straight. And that's the simple premise of it. It's like it doesn't. So therefore, it doesn't really help me, right? It's like, okay, RSI 40, RSI 80. Who cares? It's like, what's the price action telling you? Price action's ripping. Price action is telling us everything here. So why do I need to listen to this indicator, right? So that's just like pretty much the basic premise of my thoughts. There is it just doesn't help me, but. Obviously, if it's part of your strategy, like, everybody play your own plan. I know, like, everybody has their tools that help them, but for me, it's just like, if a stock can be at the highest RSI it can be and just keep ripping forever, like, what's the point of it?
You could be a bag holder.
Yeah, that's really it for me. At the end of the day, it's just like, that can lie to you. Price action will never lie to you. That's the point. It's like, you just follow price action, you learn how to read price action. That'll never, ever lie to you. And this year has really proven that. I mean, this whole year you've heard about economic data that could potentially rug the market, all this stuff. And the market has made all-time highs continuously all year long. And that just goes to show you that, okay, you You could sit back and follow what's supposed to happen off this data, or you could just follow the price action, what the market is telling you. It's literally the language of the market speaking to you, and the price action is telling you everything. So I'll always follow that for me. It's just, it'll never lie to me, right? Everything else, economic data, this or that, whether it's good data or bad data for the market, all that stuff can lie to you. And I don't like that. So
we don't like liars on the show.
No, I don't like liars.
Yeah, this is truth telling.
I just like to have as much certainty as possible, even though that's never guaranteed in a market. Obviously, you're never going to have full certainty, but I'm going to try and position myself the best I can, So that's my thoughts there.
I mean, you nailed it, because like right now, RKLB on the weekly chart is at an RSI of 94.
Yeah,
they're up
could care less.
They're up 8% today.
Yeah, care less. Who cares?
Up 6%.
And if I'm a long-term investor, that RSI doesn't worry me one bit, not at all, because it's like,
it's because irrelevant. You know why though? It's because there's a reason why RKLB has a high RSI. It's going through a complete re-rating. Right now, 6 months ago, market was rating them as a launching company, like I mentioned. Now they're clearly seeing them as a space logistics company after their last earnings, when space systems is 3/4 of their revenue, and that's their high margin side of their business. Like, you're seeing this re-rating occur. It's going to continue. Especially, it's $1 trillion TAM, the space economy, by like 2032, I think it was. This company at the time, like 6 months ago, was worth $3 billion. Now that they're getting rated as a space logistics company, you saw what UPS and FedEx and Amazon have done for e-commerce when you have a logistics set up on a thematic that's about to blow up. Space economy is about to blow up. So if you have a logistics company like RKLB already cementing themselves at the first mover advantage and the market share, you're going to go through a re-rating, and that's what's happening with them. And the way I handle this is, all right, this might have been a mistake on my end, but I built a overweight position in RKLB when it was under $5. I know that this thematic is just getting started, but it's years and years away, where if this was a ball game, we're in batting practice for space economy. We're not even in the third inning. Like, we're just warming up for the game. But when it doubled it tripled in a matter of like 2 or 3 months, and I built an overweight position under $5. So I'm like, oh, what do I need to do? Because I want to protect my gains, but I'm so bullish in this name that my thesis was correct, and now the market's realizing that. So I should sit on my hands, but I decided to sell half my position at $12. And the reason for that is, at that time, Snowflake was at 120. It was like, I need more funds for Snowflake, but I also wanted to take my whatever I invested into RKLB, I wanted to capture that. So now it's all profits, and now I don't have to worry about the stock, because I hold position, even though right now it's still like a big position, and I only have half my exposure that I originally had. I could sleep well at night. I'm not stressed, because it's all my gains are in it now. All the risk I had associated to it, I took out, and it's put aside, and now I'm riding my gains, and I'm going to see where it goes until the thesis breaks, which I don't think it's breaking. So that's kind of how I would suggest, like, these speculative positions, like, build them before the FOMO kicks in. Clearly the FOMO is in on these like quantum computing space companies, but there's more opportunities like that out there. Like, I have a couple small cap names I'm really bullish on that the market really hasn't seen my thesis on it, and you build that position before that FOMO behavior occurs. RKLB's a perfect example. But yeah, so looking at RKLB, is above $26 now. SPY's essentially not moved anywhere. What other names are running?
Netflix had a big, nice move into the open there. It's a big candle. Got killed Netflix yesterday. Honestly, similar to kind of like my thoughts on gold. A little bit of a nasty day yesterday. 10% now. I think any bounce today, unless we reclaim that 890.50, is a bounce to short on Netflix. But I don't like the contracts there. I was just looking at them. I don't particularly like those options, so I'm not going to be trading it. But you could be potentially trading NFLU, which is that 2 times leverage ticker. Maybe I trade that, since I don't like the options. I don't know. We'll see.
This is a nuts move.
I'm really just focused on the futures more right now. I just not not the week for all the setups that I want.
But this is
Keep
like
an eyes out though.
this time of the year is when you can really tell, though, in my opinion, on what names people are positioning ahead of next year, because
Yeah.
capital gains within a year, like that, I hate that it's an actual factor into people's decision, but like it is. So a lot of times you see like people front running what they want to own in 2025 in the months of November, December, because it's like past the 12-month threshold if they want to sell it towards the end of next year or by before 2026. So you're kind of seeing that right now where there's three key themes that is catching on fire that everyone kind of wants their hands on. And it's quantum computing, space, and software. That's like where the hot pockets are right now. And I do think that that's something you should keep note on. And when there is going to be a pullback in the market, which there is going to be sometime in the future, keep in mind of this, like create a laundry list of names that you were caught off guard on, that it ran way too quickly before you can build a position. And when that pullback occurs and nobody knows the velocity of that. Like, for example, for me, I always have this laundry list of what I want exposure and what I want to build on in my portfolio. So when that yen carry trade crisis occurred in August, I went so hard that during that overnight trading, thanks to Robinhood, and I was so confident in it because I already knew what I wanted to add my exposure in, that I just used all my cash, I went on margin, and I treat that as my Santa Claus, like Christmas gift. Like I was super, super happy about it. And that allowed me to like get so much exposure so quickly in these names that when it bounced, I was set, and it bounced really quickly. And the reason I was so confident in like using my cash, my margin, is because whenever the VIX goes above 50, that's a generational buying opportunity. It happens once, maybe twice a decade, maybe. That typically that's a benchmark for fear in the market, and typically the mean of that is around 15 or 16. The COVID 2020, what happened from there? The VIX exploded. I think I forgot the level, 60 or 70. So this yen carry trade crisis exploded towards 60. I was like, this is nowhere near as troubling as what COVID was in 2020. This is a buying opportunity. This is way overblown. That's why I was able to capitalize, but it's because I was prepped. So like my 2 cents for you guys, like always have your laundry list, because you never know when something wonky is going to happen. China invades Taiwan. Trump says something so stupid that he angers multiple nations, whatever it might be. Some volatility is going to occur in next year. Be prepared.
100%. Well, IonQ is just kind of back and forth here. I ain't doing anything. Nice little rip it open. Nvidia pulling back a little bit. We got yesterday's low, 135.80 there. So I wouldn't be surprised if we need to go test that real quick. Apple strong, Microsoft strong, continuous higher highs. Tesla's not doing nothing. Coinbase trying to hold up. It's been in a range this past few days, not really doing too much. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I really don't have too much of my
It's a quiet open.
Hello, oil. Oil's kicking off here. Nice move there. But yeah, little bit quiet here, so I'm not making any decisions right this second.
Let's see what else is running. Sorry, I was trying to make some trades right now.
Yeah, you're good. Get them in. I had a little pre-market futures trade, but it was small. And
I do love, like, dude, Snowflake's showing such strength.
I know that name.
Like, that's so.
That's exactly what you want after earnings like that. Just that continued strength. Doesn't even have to rip in a straight line every day up. Just holding price and continuously, making that grind, that slow grind up is good. Looks great.
Oh, what happened to Viking Therapeutic? Oh my God, how did I not see this read through for Viking on that Ozempic news? VKTX is up 10%, or was the pre-market. Now it's fading. But I have a trade in that. Dang, I might trim it right now.
Yeah, I'm saying OPEC news causing CL pop.
Let's see. Yeah, Celsius is fading. Oh God.
Market's ripping. QQQ new high, 21,000 here. That's NQ. Sorry.
Let's see. Yeah, Qs are doing well. Yeah, small caps. It's just large. It's rotating from small cap to large tech right now.
GME has some volume today. That's not good.
GME.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Stay away.
Stay away.
Stay away.
Who knows? Maybe they can be the next Bitcoin miner.
Hey.
Or whatever they want to do with that.
Come on, Ryan. Get it together, man. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I mean, this is also good nuggets. I don't what's the volume right now, Jordan, on the first 15 minutes? So typically in the first like hour, I want to see 8 to 10 million volume on
we
SPY.
got $500,000 on GME. On SPY we got
It's no volume. So
1.49 mil so far.
That's a really big tell for me. Like if what's going to happen the rest of the day, like the first hour of the market being open is huge on what the sentiment will be the rest of the day.
Absolutely.
Lots of really low volume for the first 15 minutes, like really low volume. So I do think that today's going to be a pretty chill day, pretty quiet day. I wouldn't be surprised if SPY just hangs out at 598, 599, tease that $600 level. And tomorrow feels like there's a lot of data that comes out tomorrow, so that's going to probably move a decent amount pre-market. But other than that, I mean, everything's kind of going through strong. Let me see those strugglers right now. I mean, I like seeing CrowdStrike kind of being flat because they're reporting after the market today. And again, like this is one of my top 3 positions for you if you guys aren't aware. And a lot of people see the price action, again, narrative false price action. They filled that gap from that July 19 outage. So now everyone's assuming, all right, things are chill, things are great, like things are going to be back to normal. They will not be back to normal in the near term. Like, let me be very vocal about this. Like, it's a top 3 position for me. There is going to be a lot of noise this afternoon. So much freaking noise. And it's going to be a lot of noise the following earnings as well, where they're going to, CrowdStrike had to provide a lot of discounts to customers that got affected by the outage to make sure they don't leave. And a lot of contracts that used to be at a certain time window are getting extended. And that's going to affect their near-term financials. So right now, like the stock price is where it was pre-outage, but the fundamentals are substantially weaker because of all these issues all these incentives that they have to provide to their clients. So you can make the argument that valuation actually is even more premium than it was pre-outage. And that's alarming to me. Like it really is. So I do think today is going to be a lot of noise. And I think this would be one of those names where like, I don't see it going to $400 anytime soon. Like I really think it's going to be kind of stuck for at least the next 6 months until we get through like fully this outage aftershocks. And it's still going through the aftershock. So I want to give you guys caution, like very bullish long term, very bullish. Like I could not be any more bullish on this name long term. There's a reason 70% of the Fortune 1000 customers use them. And when you install their Falcon platform or like any cybersecurity product really, but really the CrowdStrike's Falcon platform, you don't leave. It's the biggest headache. And they know it's the best endpoint product in the market. And that's why you see CrowdStrike consistently see their modules getting adopted by more and more people because they have their golden product endpoint. It is?
Yeah, I got long on M&Q.
That's a good call out.
I was already
Amazon's up 2% as well.
I've already scaled out. I just didn't want to interrupt you. But yeah, we're making highs.
No, please interrupt me when the things are running. I love that Amazon's back above 200.
Long on at 989 on the M&Q here, but I'm just moving stops up until this stops me out. But yeah, again, like I said, I'm focused on the futures this week. I just got my order filled. I'm out. So, I mean, NQ, I was initially thinking short this morning. Personally, if you guys watch the streams or are a part of spaces, you know my 10-minute CBC strategy. If you don't, I have videos that explain it, and I'll kind of explain it a little bit here. But long story short, we had that 620 candle my time that got the. Long story short, the 10-minute CBC flipped bearish, which means that candle closed below the low of the previous candle. So I was initially thinking short because we haven't seen that all morning, and then it just got bought up. 10-minute CBC flipped back to bullish, which means that 10-minute candle closed above the high of the previous 10-minute candle. When that happens, I bump it down to a 2-minute chart and look for those EMA crosses, and we had the 9 and 21 above that, so I entered longs off that, and that was a nice like 40 points to the upside there. So nice little trade to start the morning, but we'll see what else the day has to offer. I'm same as you. I don't think much is going to happen. That's exactly why I was trading all last night. There was a ton of movement last night, so I was going to capitalize on that versus trying to capitalize on really nothing happening throughout the New York session. So it's rare that happens, though. It's not super often that you're going to see that, but once in a while, generally on these quiet weeks for the market, we see futures get a little bit more movement throughout the nighttime. So we'll see. But
some names like Rock Lab's up 11% now. This is nuts.
Longs are still valid to me as well, as long as 10-minute CBC is holding. So unless you see a 10-minute candle close below the low of a previous 10-minute candle, there's really no reason to not be long right now for me. So I'll be looking for other opportunities for entries.
I spoiled my fiance so much with her expectations. Okay, here's the timeline. I proposed December 20th, 2023. I was like, all right, after proposing to her, I'm starting a Roth IRA for you. I'm gonna
absolutely
put money in it. I was like, perfect timing because like I can maximize 2023, then also maximize 2024 a week later. So I put $12K into her account and I bought 3 stocks with it. Rock Lab, IonQ, and TMDX. So like she's up 160% this year, and now she's just like, no, but she's like thinking like, I don't know, she's hiding it from me, but it's hard for her not to like think like this is possible like every year. I'm telling her like 15%. That's all I'm trying to do, and now her account went from 12 to 39.
Next year you're gonna get her like 35%, and she's gonna be like, what's this? Last year was 115. What is this?
She's gonna put me 35%.
Yeah.
Shame.
Gosh.
No, but it's a wild move on this one. It's continuing.
Yeah. NQ pulling back
like
a little
not
bit here.
Running as much. Yeah.
So we'll see if 10-minute CBC flips. If it does, I'd like to potentially look for a short, depending on how those 2-minute EMAs look. But yeah, just gonna be likely scalping around this week. I am keeping my eyes peeled for options plays though. It's tough picking.
Well, actually,
there.
what's the VIX at? I don't even know what the. So I use the
VIX
VIX
is at 14, under $15. It's 14.33.
That's wild.
Yeah,
all right, so
it's been
very
screwed.
It's very cheap to hedge. That's what that tells me right there.
Yes,
if you guys are looking to hedge,
it's very cheap to hedge.
Wow. Let's see.
Yeah, actually, so, speaking of like hedging and just like I guess de-risking going into the new year, especially if you're sitting back in the audience and you might be of the older generation. You know what I mean? You're like, I made a lot of gains this year, and I really want to protect it. I don't want to jeopardize those gains. Obviously, being a part of Nvidia, some of these big tech companies, it can be risky going forward, even though they might continue to run, right? So that's where tickers like Shay, I know we've talked about these before, but tickers like THTA, tickers like Wheel, ticker WEEL. It's literally an ETF that trades the wheel option strategy for you, but it's beautiful. Like you don't have to know how to do the strategy. You buy shares on the ETF and you're able to capitalize on that options income, right? And so that for me is just like, that's big opportunity in my opinion for people that are like, I really want to protect my gains but still earn some income every month, you know what I mean, or every quarter. So
I think you just highlighted a key point. Like
there's other opportunities.
Be a one-trick pony anymore in this market. Like you need diversify the tools in your tool shed. Like you really need to if the market's running hot like it has been the past 2 years, you don't have to sell your position. Like you allocate your cash towards like tools like Wheel, where you can capitalize on just like not guaranteed, but steady income every single month.
Yeah.
Or in that Wheel strategy that's been around forever, but this is the first ETF product that kind of packaged it together so that a simple-minded person like me, who's not really into Wheel strategies or doesn't like to.
Well, I'm an options guy. I don't even know how to trade the Wheel strategy. And guess what? I really
it's a headache.
Right now, at this moment in my life, I'm not going to take the time and energy to go and learn that strategy and the money. It's takes a lot of income as well 100%. To like be able to like trade a strategy like that. So I'm like, hey, I'd rather put my money in the hands of somebody that's smarter than me that knows how to do this, and hopefully earn some income, right? So definitely do your due diligence, check into stuff like that, and just other opportunities in the market, right? It doesn't have to be all big tech, whatever's hot. There's other opportunities in the market outside of what we trade every day. So just especially if you're thinking like I need to de-risk, I need to be a little bit safer going into 2025. You can be, right? You don't have to be exposed to all these risky takers that we trade, right? So always keep that in mind. But if you're not exposed to Nvidia this year, it's kind of a punch in the face, huh? It's not really.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think that's why Palantir's catching such a major bid. It was like what Nvidia's done the past couple of years. That's the clear AI hardware winner. The AI application winner is Palantir, and you've seen the run up. It's 10x in the past couple of years. So maybe that move already happened. But the third massive winner is what's starting to move. It's a real world AI application, and that's Tesla. So that's why Tesla's catching a major bid. Like you're seeing, this is a three-headed monster for AI. It's Nvidia, Palantir, and Tesla. They cover every aspect of that AI thematic for consumers, businesses, and enterprises. Like that's why you kind of see like Palantir right now is like somewhat losing their steam. Like you're noticing yesterday it went up 5%. It cooled off. Like today it just went red. Right now, like I really do think it's in this consolidation period between 60 to 65 or 60 to 70. Let's just say that it's going to be spacing there, I think, for quite some time until their next earnings, where that could be the catalyst to prove that they deserve this valuation, or it starts getting re-rated towards stopping nosebleed premium to now just a premium. Either way, Tesla is the next like name that's kind of running in that thematic. And if I just said Nvidia 10x, Palantir just 10x past couple years, what's that going to say? Like for Tesla, I don't know how quickly it's going to 10x from when it was at 140, but I feel like $1,000 price target in Tesla isn't so ridiculous. Like in the long term, it really isn't. And you're seeing like,
I mean, people looked at you like you were crazy when you said similar things about Nvidia when
yeah,
6 months ago. Right, but now, and then they had to split Nvidia, right? It's like, okay, yeah, I have no doubt that Tesla could get up there one of these days. Obviously, it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to be in a straight line up. But absolutely agree. I'm with you. It's the three-headed serpent there. It's like, all right, this is the next one to go right here. So I'm with you, man. I'm such a big believer in Tesla. Again, there's a reason it's number one in my long. Yeah. It's my biggest position. It's the majority of my long-term portfolio. So betting on Elon, baby. Let's go. Pump my bags. NQ here. And pulling back to these EMAs, not really doing too much. I haven't taken any other positions. We scalped it long, up a little bit here. We also traded all last night, so I'm really not pressing the gas pedal too hard today. But,
Apple's about to hit all-time highs.
Whoa, craziness going on this chart right now, back and forth. Apple just hit new all-time highs?
What did you just see? That just caused you to O.
That was just NQ going back and forth on these low time frames. Freaking me out. I'm like, whoa. Now Apple's right there. Gosh, come on, do it. That weekly consolidation on Apple is actually really beautiful. I like it a lot. It's a matter of when is it gonna go, and that can be the hardest thing to time there. That can be really difficult to time. Coming into the top of the hour here, I know we're gonna be wrapping up, but beautiful morning. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I hope everybody's enjoying the daily rip. We're having a lot of fun. Shai's the man. He's
Dude,
killing it as always.
Stop.
I love how we started the show, and it's like you kick it off with the snow play, and like all these plays are going good. So I love it. We're all killing it. So shout out to the crew. Shout out to the team at StockTwits for always taking care of us. We appreciate you guys. And Shay, yeah, you got any last words for the crew?
Yeah, I mean, just be cautious again. Like things feel a little rug pulley. Yesterday's action, today at the Open. This it feels FOMO-y. Doesn't mean you have to participate in it. Like this is going to be a really bullish. Like we're in the heart of a major bull rally, and it's not going to last months. It's going to last years, in my opinion. So don't feel like you're missing the next greatest opportunity, because I can promise you, like what Jordan and I said earlier, these runners will pull back towards their key technical levels sometime. So have that laundry list. Make sure those names that you want to add that you missed out on, make that your 2025 goal to be patient with it. But when you see the macro-driven pullback in the markets from whatever reason, geopolitically, Trump, fundamentals, whatever it might be prepared and capitalize on, because I do think we are in the heart of a multi-year bull rally that is not going to be ending anytime soon. So don't get greedy, be prepared, and don't do anything that's going to prevent yourself from losing your hunger for Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving's in 2 days. You got to eat that turkey.
Because I'm so ready. It's going to be great. Well, with that said, appreciate the whole crew. We'll see everybody bright and early in the morning for another show. And, yeah, trade safe today, guys.